I'm curious about the kind of to the previous comment about like when is the time and the place for investing in these like micro promotions or really building that out. How do you make sure that you're kind of making a balancing between learning and prepping for the next role and performing in this role? Because I've seen reps where you get your top SDR, they've got their eyes set on AE, it's all they care about, and they get so wrapped up in the AE and learning the AE role, they forget that they're still in the SDR role, which is like understandable, but it also is going to compromise their opportunity to hit that AE role. So talk to me about how do you balance that?
Yeah, that's super tough. And I think, to be perfectly honest, that is almost like a case by case thing. I haven't figured out like a one size fits all there. You have the people, I think, on your team that you know are going to be distracted by shiny objects. And you have the ones they get that this is their role right now and they're going to try to achieve that next step. So again, when I think you need to distinguish that, and it goes into kind of motivation in general, right? Like again, everyone's different. Like what motivates you? Is it money? Is it time off? Is it career development? Is it your title? Whatever. I think that's also a very similar case here. But to that point, the framing of that growth plan is very specific to, and again, it could be different. If your org is, you get half quota while you're upboarding into the next role, that's great. But if it's not, then like it needs to be very apparent, hey, you're given this opportunity, or we're going to start to, give you resources, get you demo certified, give you all these other things that are leading to this goal. But at the same time, you need to maintain, where you're currently at. You can't drop the ball there and say, oh, I'm training to be an AE. And it's just like, well, now you're 20% of your quota. So like, this is off the table now. Yeah. So it's like I think again, understanding that your current role is still that you're doing day to day, and these other things are there in it's time management, it's like focus, it's all that stuff, which again, even in that upboarding transition, it's a great way to like suss out how is this person able to handle the next step, because the people who know how to time manage well and they know how to balance things, it's very similar. Once you become an AE, you got to balance a million things. You got to probably prospect still, you got to do all your admin stuff, you're selling, you're building decks. So it's like, you can't handle still doing this role and trying to learn the next. And like that next role is not going to be any easier than just making that transition in general. So, I mean, like for us, right, it'd always be, you got to earn that next role. And you might say it later, but like do it before you have it, make it a no brainer, have everyone kind of being your support, but you cannot let that current role drop. Like, that's the worst thing that you could do. And again, I think sometimes it's a little tough for people, but usually they're good and they figure it out and they start to understand it might need a kick in the butt, 2 weeks into that first month of having that opportunity, but then they're okay. Or I'm trying to think of a time where it hasn't worked out. So knock on wood, I don't think it has.
There you go. That was drywall, by the way, but we'll let that go.
You don't know what's over here. I might have a block of wood.
There. I know it's a tough question because it's sort of like saying, okay, well, you're playing football. Which direction do you throw the ball? It's like, well, obviously forward, but, to who and why is very context dependent. But the answer is almost always forward, I think.